Hello, welcome to Brassic Classics, and today I'm here with the XJ8. I've got this for a couple of weeks because I can't drive a manual because of this, and while I've got it, I've got a few jobs to do. And today I'm hoping to replace the aerial because someone decided to bend it and vandalise the car, which was useful. I bought a new aerial. It comes with instructions that all seem very, very simple. But as with all cars, it's never as simple as you think. But anyway, let's start and have a look. Okay, so here we are. This is the new aerial I bought with instructions, which all appear very simple. So far, I have removed the bezel, just a little bit here, and I've managed to pull the aerial up to this point. It says in the instructions that you just simply give it a firm tug and it should come out of the drive gear. So far, I'm not finding that. So I'm going to have another go. Problem is I don't want to force it. I don't want to damage the motor. Okay, so I've managed to get the aerial to this point, but I'm pulling quite hard on this and it's not coming out. So I'm going to continue a little bit more, and then I may have to resort to removing the boot lining. Let's get back to it. Okay, so I persevered with the aerial, and I managed to get it out. The only slight problem was I only got the actual metal section out. What I didn't get was the cable that connects to that. So now my only option really is to remove the boot lining, get to the motor, remove that, and then feed this in. So once again, a 10-minute job becomes hours, but it's still cheaper than the mechanic. Okay, so here's our aerial motor. It's held on in two places at the top and the bottom there. Remove this electrical connection, which I've already done. It's earthed up here, which you can just about see. Yeah, I'm going to remove that now, and hopefully I'll be able to thread this new aerial in, because I really don't want to have to buy a new unit, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm at the point now where I have released all the electrical connections, and just under here is the final bolt you can just about see there, which holds the whole system in. So I need to get a socket, remove that, and then I can free up the motor. Okay, so here you can see my largely dismantled boot lining now. However, success, I got it out. Fortunately, this does come apart. So the next thing I'm going to do is take it into my house and take it to bits. So we'll go and do that in a minute. But just a quick one. If you ever wonder why mechanics charge so much money, it's because of this. You know, what appears to be a relatively simple job, and what, you know, on paper, on the spare part which is meant to be for this car, there's the paper. Well, I can't find the paper. Yeah, and what appears on paper to be a 10-minute job quite quickly transforms itself into, you know, removing most of the lining of your boot, needing, you know, a decent socket set. You need tools. You couldn't do this with just a screwdriver. You couldn't do it. And you know, I've been doing this for the best part of an hour. So what does the mechanic charge? £120 an hour. So realistically, yeah, if you're going to take this to a garage, it's going to cost you a couple £100. You know, obviously I've still got to take this apart in order to fit the new aerial. So I mean, that could take another half an hour. Then I've got to put it all back together. So yeah, as I say, this stuff costs money. So if you're going to have old cars, you have to enjoy doing this sort of stuff. It's got to be for fun. But anyway, we got there in the end. I had a feeling this would be a bigger job than just pull the aerial out, slide a new one in, and it was. But it's a lovely winter's day, so I can't really moan. And anyway, we got there in the end. So next you'll see me taking this apart on my desk. Oh, when I can get up. Okay, right, so it's time to take this aerial motor apart. It looks pretty simple. It's a Phillips head, and there are, how many screws we got? 2, 4, 6 screws, and that should take this cover off, and then hopefully I can release what remains of the old aerial and put the new one in, and then we'll be getting somewhere. See how that goes. Okay, so now I've got the cover off. It's what the inside mechanism looks like. So it's pretty simple. It's an electric motor which turns the screw, which turns this wheel to retract the aerial. So the tail of the aerial, which I'll show you on the new one, this is the tail. This wraps around the cylinder and pulls the aerial down. However, the old tail wasn't connected to anything. It was just inside the plastic wheel, not attached to anything. So that makes sense, that's why that wasn't working. Everything looks alright in there. It all looks a little bit... Oh, I forgot to mention actually, when I removed it from the car, that's a drain hole, which is connected to a plastic tube which goes out the floor. So this is designed to get, well, it's designed to get some water that comes down where the aerial goes up and down. Okay, so having a closer look, what we have is electric motor, spindle and a cog, which turn the bigger wheel, and then you have the housing for the tail, which goes on like that, and then you have the outer case, which sits on there, and then that screw goes through the middle of everything and holds everything together, which allows this to spin and take up the tail, pull the aerial up and down. Simple as that. Now I've got to do is fit the new aerial and put this back together. Okay, so I've just fed the new tail into the top of the aerial tube and then onto the first cog. And the important thing is obviously to make sure the teeth, I can get the screwdriver in the right place, the teeth are facing the teeth of the cog, otherwise it won't grip it and it won't go around the sprocket. That's the end of the tail. Now what I need to do is put the housing back on, which is the guide essentially, and then force the rest of the tail down, and it should all marry up and we should be good. I've checked that all the cogs are free, everything's free and moves easily, it's all nicely greased up, so fingers crossed this should be it. Okay, just a quick one. Having fiddled about with this now, I think the easiest way is to feed the tail through without the main cog in. Otherwise you have to move the whole mechanism, which obviously, when it's not powered, is a lot of pressure and everything tends to fly out. So I think get that out, remove the cog, push the tail through sort of about 6 inches, replace the cog, then you put in the plate. Now the tail has to come through here in order to access the inside of the wheel it has to sit in. So I think if you do it this way, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot easier. When you feed the tail in, make sure you get it in between this little guide cog here, because that keeps it in place, otherwise it will just keep coming out. Okay, so having fiddled with this for about an hour and tried various different ways, the problem you have is this cog, the tail continually jumps out between the guide wheel and the cog itself. So the only way I found to be able to do it was basically to retract the aerial completely, which gives you all the tail coming through, replace the base plate and then screw that down. And now it's actually in place and stays where it should be, and I can retract the aerial and it stays on the cog. Now what I need to do is wind this into the top plastic wheel, which is here, around the central section, reattach that with the tail inside it, and then re-secure everything, and fingers crossed that should be it. Hello, welcome back to Brassic Classics. It's now day 2 of the aerial replacement for the XJ8. Fingers crossed this should be smooth, simple and easy. But as you know, Brassic Classics probably won't be. Anyway, I'm going to show you inside the boot and what stage we're at, and then we'll refit the aerial. Okay, so this is the back of the car, the boot, where the aerial connects up there, where the motor sits. As you can see, it's all stripped, all the sound deadening's off, the carpet. It's all pretty simple, as you saw yesterday in the video. There's the drain hole, and it's just a case of bolting it back to this bracket over here, and then we should be done. Reconnect everything up, test it, and then put everything back. Okay, so there's the aerial motor all back in. It's two simple electrical connections. There's an earth at the top there, as you can see, and then you have the drain at the bottom, and it's an 8mm bolt that secures it just down there. If you see that, it's just one, simple as that. Right, next time let's test it. Let's see if this works. Fingers crossed. Okay, right, everything's back together. I haven't put the lining of the boot back in yet, just in case, because this is Brassic Classics and stuff rarely works first time. Anyway, let's try it. Ah, success. Okay, so the aerial goes up. That's a good start. Hopefully you saw that. You could just about make it out. One aerial. Let's see if it goes back down, because this is the reason it broke before. It would get to about here and then just stop, and someone walked past and just snapped it off. Let's see how this goes. Turn the engine off. Well, turn the ignition off. Nothing, nothing. Ah. Keep going, keep going, keep going, yeah. So there you have it. That is how you fix your electric aerial for about £15. £15, quite a lot of fiddling around, but it's done. The next test I'll do on the Jaguar will be just a little drive, a little review, and I've got some other stuff to fix on it. What's it got? I want to get the wheels refurbed because the passenger side front isn't sealing, which means every morning I have to pump it up, which is a bit of a pain. The driver's seat is quite loose. I think a bolt's got underneath. The only way to get to that is to remove it, so I'll be doing that as well, but I might do that in a week or so when my leg's a bit better, because it's a bit too much effort. There is a bit of a problem with the wipers. They seem to just have a mind of their own, so if anyone's got any idea about that, let me know, that'd be helpful. I've got a few paint issues. The roof looks like it's been ice skated on, and I'm thinking about maybe wrapping it if I can get a colour match with this. Otherwise I'll have to paint it, which is a bit of a pain, but you know. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it interesting. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe. This is Brassic Classics. See you again soon. Bye.